I don't know what it is with me and the pay per views, but it seems like I enjoy documenting my pay per views in this season. But there's also another reason why I wanted to document this event, and it has to do with the women's championship match. Basically, Trish and Lita are putting together the next bit in their feud, and it will we're going somewhere. We're going somewhere, and there's a reason why we're going to take this route. It's just let me start from square one. Let me start from square one. Basically, um, at first, Trish and Lita were not. It's like a friendly back and forth. But then Nydia and Jazz joined in as a way of saying like, oh, like as a way of saying like, how do you put it? Um, it's the women's division isn't all about you. Is basically what I'm saying. And basically, from there, it became, the emphasis. That's the word. The emphasis hasn't really been on them as much as it should be, for their sake, as far as it being a championship match and yada 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 yada. But I have a plan for them, and I wanted to document this. The first meeting of the first official meeting of the feud. I wanted to document it because it would allow me to then say when we hit that full circle moment that we move forward, that it changes. You know what I mean? Basically, I'm trying to be subtle, but at the same time, I'm trying to be uh, intriguing, I guess, at the same time, because I have, like, I'm happy that I have a plan to go along with this because it's not my strong suit coming up with ideas for the women's division. And I, for one, know that that's a problem because I should be able to come. It shouldn't be that hard. It's just that I don't always think from that perspective. But I'm gonna try and do my best to spotlight the women's division and give them the opportunity to eventually showcase their skills on a grander scale. You know what I mean? My only question is isn't Foley being, why isn't Foley attached to all the segments? Your guess is really as good as mine, but that's beside the point. So now we got the last two matches to really dictate and put together. That being Jericho and Randy Orton, and that being Jericho and Randy Orton, and um, Triple H and Jeff Hardy. Also, we got to do. Also, we got to put together some sort of an intercontinental title number one contender match, including Batista and Booker T. If anybody can inform me, like what Batista did in 2004, like in the build up, like how did WWE build him up? What did he do in 2004 between losing the tag team titles at Royal Rumble with Ric Flair to going and being the third person in the handicap match at WrestleMania to, you know, how did his ascension and was Batista's ascension only possible because Randy Orton was taken out of the group? So it's just like what can I need to be filled in on what Batista did in 2004 between WrestleMania and WrestleMania. Because honestly, I have no idea. I don't remember. You know what I mean? My for a title shot. Jericho setting himself up for the for a title opportunity after his match with Randy Orton tonight, because there's a bigger picture here. There is a bigger picture here, and the bigger picture is who needs to win more. I'm just gonna say that right now, in my opinion, I had a feeling Randy would be pissed because Randy's in the high 80s. But also, if you think about it, really, I with the amount that I oh he didn't really wrestle in April. That's what it was. Yeah, he didn't really wrestle in April. But I thought I had Randy competing a lot more often. I guess I just had him featured on the show. I didn't have him competing. You know what I mean? I guess I had him featured on the show and not competing. Go figure. And that's the order I want. And since Foley doesn't want to be featured in the broadcast position, he could be featured in a backstage segment. Because as I mentioned before, there was a little bit going on with Chase Stevens basically being a Chase Stevens made his debut a couple weeks ago, and he was basically in Eric Bischoff's office. Eric was introducing himself, showing him around. How is he liking it? Blah 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 blah. Showing it like, basically putting over the fact that Chase Stevens was a new signing, and then Triple H stormed into the office, and Chase Stevens took exception to the lack of respect that Triple H showed him. So that in the coming weeks, Chase Stevens started showing Triple H the same lack of respect. And though now it seems like Chase Stevens is not a thorn in the side of Evolution anymore, or being that guy who dumbfounds Triple H by the lack of respect and a lack of care that he has for the world's champion, that now he's still in the picture. Segments like this show that he's still in the picture. It's just that he stepped back a little bit because, the one thing you don't want is for people to be like, why is this random dude feuding with Triple H, like getting under the skin of Evolution? You know what I mean? Like, why is this happening? keep the game going. Well, also, I just want to point out that I also just want to point out that technically Randy has that segment earlier with Dusty Rhodes that Randy doesn't need to win against Chris Jericho because it's clear that I have something I'm putting something together with him and Dusty Rhodes. Basically the story may end tonight with there's a long-term story to tell with there's a long-term story to tell um, with Jericho and Randy Orton, and the long-term story to tell is not tonight. It's stretched out, stretched out. Because as I've also mentioned, if there's anything I've learned, I don't know why it suddenly clicked in this. I feel like I've gotten a lot better with stretching things out and telling more of a story and less of just jumping right into it. Sort of like with this. And if you go back to if you go back to was it this week on Raw? I don't no, because this week on Raw was more of an interpromotion or a double branded thing because of the tribute show. So it was last week. Mike Mondo has been finding pictures backstage and showing them to Matt Hardy. We don't know what the subject of the picture is. All we know is that Matt Hardy's been wondering where he's been wondering where uh, Mondo has been finding these. But now it seems like we're going to be getting an answer of, to the question of what's going on tomorrow night on Raw because the subject of the pictures will be revealed tomorrow night on Raw based on the caption on the back of those pictures. Does Eric want to be featured? I mean, featured. Scripted. That's the word. Yeah, Bischoff wants to be unscripted, so. Let's maybe pull it forward and have him do entertainment instead. But this is also a part of, it's supposed to be a part of the push for, it's supposed to be a part of the push for Rene Dupree, featuring him in segments with more top stars. Uh, I realize the, sort of stupidity of this match, but at the same time, it was, you know what? We're gonna go with the route. We're gonna go the route I was going to go. At the same time, basically the extent of it is to protect Batista, to allow Dave not to take the fall. And an idea just popped into my head of the best way possible to use Dave Batista in this situation. So that's the route I'm going to go. But we got to put together a pre-show match or two before we go. Chase Stevens versus Robbie Dauber. Or Robbie Dover. Dover. Whatever his name is. Robbie something or other. And we just hope that that's enough to do that. Guess I didn't really think about that, huh? I know I was recording the last time I did this, so you guys might remember what some may call a random rivalry with Kenny King against with Kenny King against Jerry Lawler. With Kenny King against Jerry Lawler being the focus of the rivalry. I mean, not the focus, the rivalry. I didn't think about the fact that basically Kenny King would have to would need somebody to be able to work with Lawler on vacation. He can't work with Lawler because Lawler's on vacation. But now we jump into Bad Blood with Jimmy Noble. Oh well, it's because of they had bad chemistry. That makes sense. I was gonna say I was surprised Jimmy Noble actually did better than Maven. Chase Stevens is, you know, showing some improvement. Chase Stevens is showing some improvement. I figured that mainly with Chase Stevens that it was somebody different. It was something different. It was something random. It was something out of the ordinary, something unique. That's why I picked Chase Stevens to come in and feud with Evolution because the initial idea, I know I talked about this in a previous video, but I'll talk about it again. The initial idea was a one night thing. Basically, have somebody random pop in, fight Triple H, go for the title, so Triple H could say, "Oh, I defended the title. I don't have to defend it. Blah 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 blah." But Chase Stevens was the first person that I basically said, "Oh, he can hold his own on a microphone, so let's bring him in." And the fact of the matter is that I basically said, the first things first. But the fact of the matter is, I decided when he did solid with Triple H the first time that maybe we could drag this out and make this something more than just a one shot deal. And that's the reason why I decided to do more than a one shot deal. Did I really expect anything more from this? To be honest, did I expect anything more from this? Honestly, not really. But if this can make it till Vengeance in July, I'd be happy. Solid way to end the feud. Solid way to end the feud. and hope that I actually can end the feud because there are other plans for Victoria and Jackie that don't include Nydia and Jazz. Lesson learned: don't let Lita talk without don't let Lita talk without a script because she's better with one. But a solid. I mean, I didn't have any expectations with Greg Valentine being the one that accepted Rob Van Dam's Intercontinental title challenge. You know, the fact that he got a good match at a Greg Valentine shows how good Rob Van Dam is. But he got another successful title defense. I do think that either this will be another um oh, had I known that, I would have given it more time. But this is just the beginning with Dusty and Randy Orton, basically. Trish Stratus showing why she's the top of the women's division. Kane is actually featured in a prominent position because he's on pay per view for the first time in quite a while. As good as you could expect. Basically, for those who may not have been here for the last episode, Lawler was taken out by Kenny King and is currently being given time off and was pushed aside for a few weeks with other people slotting in to be commentator on Raw, and now Kenny King is provoking or trying to provoke Mean Gene Okerlund. But I do believe that my friend Lawler is going to be off TV for at least another week. So we need a little bit more time to um, further develop the feud, if that makes sense. But Trish and Lita did exactly as I expected. And like I said, there's more to this story, and it's not just going to end tonight. As tension builds with Trish and Lita as they have a pull apart following their match, and a solid pull apart at that. Jericho talks about his match with Randy Orton tonight and makes the challenge to Triple H for vengeance. Really, the color commentary dragged down the match that much, or was it not just the color commentator? It was partially color commentating. Well, actually, the main thing was the color commentary, but also I think it was also the fact that Randy lost and Triple and Jericho won. I think that's the other reason. I don't know what I've been giving or what I was giving. Maybe I was giving him charisma, and I'm not rating him on charisma anymore. He is working well without a script though. So I don't know. I'll have to look when I go through it again because he was getting better ratings before I started penciling him in with people like Paul Heyman and Mick Foley. Like with Shawn Michaels and Evolution and Eric Bischoff, he was doing solid. Now he's doing what you would expect. Well, actually, probably what you would expect is a lot less. A lot of this pay per view has been negatively affected by the commentary. To be honest with you, so maybe we pull Mick Foley from commentary for the main event and just let JR do it himself. But the answers to this puzzle that has been going on for the last couple of weeks, or pretty much almost a month, with Mondo and Matt Hardy, is the return that comes tomorrow night on Raw. So you got something to look forward to tomorrow night on Raw. But also tomorrow night on Raw, Booker T will face Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental Championship one on one. And the reason why it was a fatal four way, again, is to protect Batista from having to take the fall. Because something just popped up in my mind as something that I could do for Batista, but also, like I said, as a way to further the push or change the perception of Rene Dupree that, in the past, Rene would not be featured on pay per view, but at least now he's featured in some segment on pay per view to change your perception of him, like, oh, write him off as somebody that doesn't matter because he's never on the big stage, but now he's on the big stage asking for an opportunity, and it may click what may happen here based on what's going on and the previous announcements, if you've watched previous videos. And I'm just going to leave it there to let you draw your own conclusions as we move to the main event. And the main event was a bit of a disappointment based on where it was at WrestleMania, but I guess you can't get in 100 every time. But I think if I had Jerry Lawler on commentary, that it would have gotten better, but because of the storyline going on, that I was forced to make sacrifices. I forced sacrifices based on the storyline and pushing the storyline of Jerry Lawler not actually being there to sell the injuries he sustained from being attacked by Kenny King. So, you know, but I think it was a solid pay per view. I think we have a lot of unanswered questions and a bigger picture to field for Vengeance, and then even a bigger picture for SummerSlam. So we got a lot going on for as we head to the next pay per view of the Big Four in August, because there's also going to be a brand supremacy type match at or an interbrand match at SummerSlam to try and raise the stakes of SummerSlam, because the interbrand matches usually only take place at WrestleMania, and it's not going to be a massive match because I'm not going to give it away at SummerSlam. That's just not how it goes. If anything, it'll be a match that, it's not going to be missed at WrestleMania, if that makes sense. But either way, this is the latest edition of Bad Blood, and I, for once, invested the time in what I think to be the bigger picture, in my opinion, and well, we got a bigger picture to come, and that's what Bad Blood, pay-per-views like Bad Blood are supposed to be for. But if you're enjoying this content, let me know down in the comment section below, and if you want to see more of this series, let me know that. You can let me know that by leaving a comment, leaving a like, or in any way, shape, or form interacting with this video, because any and all interactions are very much appreciated and do help us with the algorithm or combat the algorithm. So let me know down. So please feel free to interact with the video however you see fit. And with that being said, do not forget the ding dong that notification bell to always know when a new video is up on the channel. And I will see you in the next one.